This is Samuel from Animal.
Hi, this is Cheney Crab from Entheos.
This is Alex from Lisa Eyes.
This is Brittany Slays from Unleash the Archers.
Hi everyone, this is Fernando from Moonspell, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate podcast. Rock on.
Welcome back to the podcast. Returning with another amazing metal interview. Today we're here with the folks in Oak, Ash, and Thorn at the second annual Mile High Power Fest. Thank you guys so much for coming on the Great Metal Debate.
Hey, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
So we're here at the fest in Colorado. This is near the start of a mini tour for you guys. How did it come about that you guys started this off here in Colorado at Mile High Power Fest?
So we secured the date for this festival first, and we were just kind of like getting our summer dates together. And honestly, our label was like, hey, why don't you guys put together a little tour and, kind of get something done before you go into the studio. So that's kind of why we did that.
Cool. And today's fest has a number of amazing bands. Have you guys performed with any of the bands on the bill today? And or are there any bands today that you're wanting to peek your head in and catch because you haven't seen them before and have heard about them?
So I've played with Viper Witch before, but with Grave Shadow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when they came through.
Yeah, that was Halloween last year.
Funny enough, we actually played with at least two of the bands on this bill almost exactly a year ago at Mad with Power Fest in Madison, Wisconsin.
Indeed.
Owlbear was there, Glyph was there, Celestial Wizard was there.
Yeah.
So this is like, this fest, I actually was just saying earlier, even though it's technically a different scene, this fest is the exact same crowd as Mad with Power, which was almost
like a reunion.
Yeah, it really does feel like a reunion. And Mad with Power was a lot of fun. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, happy to be part of that. So this crowd again.
As far as like bands I want to check out, Greyhawk kind of just blew my mind just now.
Yeah.
They were incredible.
Greyhawk was like Viper Witch, who went on right before us. We couldn't watch them because we were getting ready, but we heard them and they were absolutely awesome.
Viper Witch.
They were super sick.
And I'm really looking forward to Power Glove, I will say.
Cool.
Yeah.
All great bands. As I said, this performance starts a run of gigs that's going to take you many miles from here, including down to Texas. Will you all be hitting any new markets where Oak, Ash, and Thorn hasn't played before?
Yes.
Every date,
I think they're all new.
Except for Colorado Springs, the last date. We've never been to Kansas. Lawrence, Kansas. No. We've never played Texas.
And never been to New Mexico.
And never been to Albuquerque as this group. So
Midwest, Southwest, we just haven't gotten there. And like, no offense to denizens of the Mid or the Southwest, but everything's just so far from everything else. And it's like we go to the East Coast and you can be at like the next big city in an hour, and then here it's like if you go an hour, then you're just in the plains, and then if you go another hour, it's plains, and then if you go 8 hours, it's still plains. And so it just takes a while, But we're committed. We're committed to annihilating the Midwest and the Southwest.
Well, I can believe it because this was my first time to see Oak, Ash, and Thorn perform, and I got to say, I was really shocked at the energy you guys brought. Like, is that something you guys think about? Do you practice at that level? Like, how is it that you bring that energy to the performance?
So yeah, we do rehearse with a certain amount of energy, but it's always tenfold when you're actually on stage. And I recently switched from vocals and guitar to just vocals so I could move around a little bit. And I think, we've I don't know, all of you string players are able to run around a lot, right? It's like, we have a relatively small practice space. We can't just run across the room because across the room is 10 feet.
You're gonna run into your neighbor there,
right? But we try to rehearse with as close to the same level of energy as we give on the stage because, well, it's like this, you need to take the test under the same conditions which you studied for it. And so, if you just are practicing the set sitting down in your room, then when you get on stage and you get the adrenaline head rush, you're going to forget how to play stuff. You're going to get tired. So you got to you gotta go for it when you're practicing too, or you're not going to be ready to bring it on stage when it's time.
Yeah. And to that effect too, I think one of the things that at least I always strive for when we're practicing like a show rehearsal, we call them show. There's like band rehearsal, regular like work through the set, iron out the parts, and then there's show rehearsal, which are two very different things.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever heard of an artist say that, so make that differentiation.
We kind of think of it as like there's practice, there's group practice, and then there's rehearsal, and they're separate. So group practice is like, oh, how are we doing that riff? Oh, it's like this. Okay, cool. And me, it's like, oh, what fill is that? We're like ironing it out together, learning together. And then at a show rehearsal, there's no time for that. Like, it's like, if we wouldn't do it during a show, we're not going to do it during a show rehearsal. And that's honestly just for like muscle memory. Because like things happen on stage that you're not prepared for. Sure. If you can like rehearse yourself and be in the mindset like, oh, I'm in front of 10,000 people. Of course, we've never played for anyone that large or like a crowd that large. But if you
don't
so fingers crossed. But like if you get in the mindset of like, oh, I'm on stage, it's go time, and then your guitar comes unplugged, or you drop a stick, or you forget a line, you're practicing the correction, you're practicing the recovery, and I feel like that's really important because it's not about fucking up on stage, it's about how you recover, because everybody fucks up on stage. Right. Yeah. The more muscle memory you have, and like if you've been in the situation before in that same kind of mindset, then you're like, oh, this is how I fix this. Here, 2 seconds, and then you're back on track. So like that's mainly like why we do that too, is to like just set ourselves up for like, if it does train wreck, we can like keep the train on the tracks for the most part.
Yeah.
So that brings me back to you, Adam, that you've transitioned just to doing vocals. Was that an easy transition? Did you find yourself missing having the guitar? Like what was that like?
Nope, I don't miss it one bit. I mean, my primary instrument is the guitar, and that's, I really never set out to be a vocalist or a frontman or anything like that. But in this band, it's the vocals became a big part of it, and I realized that I felt like at one point that we were kind of wasting me, with me being tethered to a guitar all the time, and because I can't do anything, like I really can't do anything at all if I'm playing and singing. I'm pretty much stuck there, and I'm either singing or I'm playing. Right. And so occasionally I can step back from the mic and headbang or like smile at Jason or whatever, but yeah. So I have I did theater and burlesque MC and just a lot of like theatrical stage stuff, and I was like, we should let me just drop the guitar and let me be a front man.
Yeah.
See, not having seen you all before, it's hard for me to imagine the band on stage without that element now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I mean, same, honestly. I feel like this is like the golden lineup of this band, finally. Once we brought Kadin on to replace my guitarist, and he's way better than I am at guitar anyway. He can play circles around me. And so yeah, this is it.
So to kind of backtrack, maybe I should have started this question earlier. Do you mind giving us a thumbnail sketch of how the band came to be?
Yeah.
Cierra should do that.
So the original like lineup of the band came together in 2012.
No, it was it?
Yes, it was 2012. Okay. Yes. So there was another guy in the band who isn't with us anymore, but me and him started the band back in 2012, and we had like a general idea of people that we wanted to have in the band, and it was just kind of a like, let's call them and see if they're down. You were like the last piece that came from that, I think, because he was like, I got this guy Adam and he's pretty sick, but like he's not answering the phone, and I think it'd be really cool, and so it was fine. So we just started jamming.
That's not the first time I've heard that in interviews. I mean, that's a recurring.
He was in his own bands too. Like you were in 2 bands, right? You were in you were in Frostain for a minute, and then you were in what was your band? Drown the Sun. Yeah. So he was already a gigging musician as well.
Heavily doing burlesque at the time.
And burlesque, yeah. So finally got him to come jam. And the first time we jammed, we actually played an Immortal song, which was really cool. We played with Stand the Fall of Time was the first song I ever jammed with him, which was very fun.
We just sat down and we just did it.
Yeah. So the original lineup had me and Adam and 2 other guys. did a handful of shows like that, and then we were like, all three on guitar, by the way. We did not have a bassist.
Yep.
He was singing and doing guitar, and we had two other guitar players and
screeching hell.
me on drums. And then we were like, we should get a bassist. And then we had a bassist come in, and she was cool for a bit, and then she went on to do some college and moved out of the state. And then Adam actually spent some time away from the band as well. I think like maybe 2 or 3 years into the band, you stepped away to pursue some life stuff.
Yeah.
And at that point, we had Tim come in and do vocals. Our buddy Dylan was on bass at that point. And then that was Jason's first iteration on guitar as well. And then that was the lineup for a couple years. And then Tim ended up moving on. Then we had Connor come in and do vocals for a bit while it was still me and Jason. And then Dylan left, and that's where we brought Eric in, right? And then Eric plays bass, still plays bass. And then we brought in Connor on vocals because Tim had left. So then it was, I don't even know at this point. A bunch of people.
Point is, it was a bit of a revolving door
for a while. And then at the end
which happens.
It does. And then at the end of, what was it, 2018 or 2019, the band,
I remember,
kind of like, Connor wanted to go pursue his tattooing career. Jason was trying to get into some other stuff as well. Eric was doing other shit. So we just kind of put the band on pause, and it had kind of been a recurring thing where like the band would stop, like be doing good things for a minute and then stop. And then we get the ball rolling again and then stop. He's one of our best friends ever. And then we get the ball rolling again and then some people leave and then it stops again. So, it was kind of just like this like crazy roller coaster. And then after the last time, I was like, okay, I'm going to put a pause in No Cash and Thorn for a second, like try to get into some other stuff. And then this motherfucker calls me again.
Can I jump in here?
Yes.
Let me explain what happened. So from here, I got
from your perspective.
From my perspective, what happened? It's late 2019, maybe October or November. I think it was like right after that one show that y'all played in
Grand
Junction
with Havoc and Mobile Death Camp.
And she was like, "Hey, just thought I should let you know that we called it quits on No Cash and Thorn, and as it being like your child." Thought I should tell you. And then I remember, like, I was looking at my phone and I was like, and I'm like, do you ever want to just jam again, just for fun, for no reason at all, not to start a band, just to play music together?
You want to get in the room again?
Now I'll let you take it back.
And I was like, you know what, you're right, yes. And then he came back over and we started jamming again, and now we're here. So basically, like, he came back, Adam came back, and then I was like, well, we need string players. So I called Jason back, and he was like, you know what, hell yeah. And I called Eric back, and he was like, Eric's reply was funny, because he goes, I'm a little confused. He's like, I thought the band was done. And I was like, yeah, well, you see, it was. And then Adam called me, and then he was like, was Adam the original guy? I was like, yeah, because he didn't know at the time. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, I'll check it out.
He said, I'll check it out.
Yeah. And then we had one other member for a minute, and then that ended up not being a thing. And then it was just me, Adam, Jason, and Eric for like a long time.
Yeah.
From 2020 to 24.
Yeah, to last year.
And we just
with
had
me on
done
guitar.
with him on guitar.
And vocals.
And then Jason couldn't make Mad with Power last year. Last year, Jesus. What year is it? Jason had to stay home from that flight 8, so we had Kadin fill in because we already knew him from the tour we did with his other band, Solemn Vision. And we were like, this is great. What if we just...
It was cool because, in 2023, we went on tour together, my band, Solemn Vision, which I've been in for over 10 years now. And I think we met because you knew Carlos, who's the drummer in Solemn Vision. You knew him from 70,000 Tons of Metal, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. So, a lot of people meet each other on 70,000 Tons of Metal. So that's how our bands knew each other. So we ended up just going on tour together because Solemn Vision wanted to go on tour and we wanted some tour mates. And so we hit them up and we went on tour together. And you always expect tour to be a mixture of like fun, not fun, cool, miserable. It's always a roller coaster, right? But we, on the course of that tour, I think we like bonded way harder than any of us expected to. Yeah. Like we became like super tight over the course of that tour.
Everybody in both bands.
I was gonna say the rest of his band.
Yeah,
as
not
well,
just me. Like everybody. It was like we had a super good time on that tour, and we all got along really well, and like more than I think any of us expected to.
I think we're all just the same kind of idiot. You know, like there's like 5 of us in each band. Well, I guess at the time it was 9 people. You know, plus Moon on merch, right? But anyway, yeah, we're all like the same kind of stupid. Yeah. And the same kind of jackass, and it was like, you know, we played the last show of the tour, and when that show was done, and it was in New York, which is where Solemn Vision is based, where me and all those guys are from, and it was time for these guys to drive back to Colorado, and dude, we were sad.
Sad.
It was not just like, okay, high fives all around, good job team. It was like we were fucking sad. We were really bummed that it was over.
Yeah.
And so then in 2024, like I don't know, just midway through the year, I was just like, man, I miss my friends. I want to come visit these guys. So I just flew to Denver just for like a couple of days, and I hung out with Adam and Cierra. And Sierra's other band was playing a show here, so I went to that show. We all hung out, and that was really cool. Yeah, and then Cierra told me that same weekend that I was there, she was like, hypothetically, if we needed a fill-in guitar player for anything in the future, because this was shortly after they'd got signed to Season of Mist, and it was like kind of opportunities were starting to roll in a little more. She was like, if we do need a guitar player in the future for like a fill-in gig, would you be down? And I was like, absolutely, no question about it, as long as I'm around. And then like 2 weeks later, she was like, hey, we're playing a festival in August that Jason can't play. Do you want to play it? And I was like, hell yeah. And then I did that, and it was just, you know, the chemistry was all there, and it felt super natural. And so then I was invited to join, and here we are. And it was a no-brainer for me, obviously, you know.
Awesome. You went through a lot of years there. Let's go and stop last year, 2024. That was the year of the release of your latest album, Our Grief Is Thus. I'm curious now, with some time passed, you know, how happy are you guys with that effort, and what has been the response from fans and critics?
I'm still stoked on it. I still love the record. I think it's some of our best work yet. Absolutely. I do wish that it got a little bit more time in the sun, just in terms of like, you know, promo and you know, we're still kind of like getting our feet wet with like running our own ads at the time of it being released. Sure. And we didn't quite have the like digital promotion game down pat like we do now, you know what I mean? So like I feel like, you know, it could have had a little bit more push behind it, but I think the feedback from it's been great.
That album was basically the reason Season of Mist happened.
And it's
true.
Know? Yeah. The video for Auras
because you guys reached out to Season of Mist prior to that album coming out,
with
and
Eternal,
they kind of went like, you know what, it's all right, but like keep working, you know, kind of thing. And then, you know, then that album came out, and they were like, hey, we really like this one.
And I mean, even more so, it was the video for Auras specifically that they were like, it's kind of cool. You guys want to talk? So, yeah.
And also, I can say, truly unbiased, because I was not in the band. I hadn't even filled in yet. Yeah. I was still just friends with them when the album came out. That was like very close to my favorite album of that year. Oh. The only reason it couldn't take the #1 spot is because one of my favorite bands of all time came back after a 13-year hiatus and released their first.
And who was
Doth.
Doth. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
First Doth album since 2012. So nothing topped that for me. But yeah, that was my second favorite album of the year.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
With the rundown you had of the history of the band, this latest effort, how closely did it fit the initial vision for the band? Is it not at all? Like complete evolution?
Yeah. I mean, there are some things that are like still very prevalent, but in the early days, we were way more folky in terms of presentation, like with our clothes on stage and also with our sound. We were a little more along the lines of Insephirum, and like. There was like some Corpaclani in there, and you know that we really wanted to be folk metal, but maybe with a little more like, oh my God, what's that band? Moon Sorrow, like a little more black metal, folky stuff, you know. That was the goal, and we've since done. We've brought in like a little bit of power metal, a little bit of black metal, more mellow death than anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say. you have a very European sound. Like genre-wise, it varies, but it's very European.
Absolutely. It's funny you say that because we get that a lot, actually. And actually, like, one of our first shows that we ever played back in the day, it was like probably 2013. We opened for Arcona at the Marquee Theater here in Denver.
Oh, wow.
And it was so funny because, like, we weren't really on the map for Colorado yet. Nobody, like, again, this was like our second or third show. And you know, we've always had connections with the venues. So, you know, we were able to land that show as like a brand new band. It was crazy. And we opened and we played all of our, like, you know, very first songs we ever wrote. And, you know, we had pretty warm welcome. People liked us a lot. And we had people coming to the merch table asking us, they were like, so how was the tour? Like, people thought we were from Europe.
Oh.
And then
That's a good
we were like,
It's a compliment.
so we're from Greeley. We're just north an hour, you know, and they were like, holy shit.
I know.
So
not only are we north an hour, but in Greeley specifically.
yeah. Like the first practice days were in Greeley. Just don't.
God, yeah.
Maybe cut this part out of the interview because, like,
about as far as Gothenburg as you can get.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, as a former guitarist in the band, and I still write. You know, I'm writing new music. A lot of times it starts with guitars. You know, a lot of my favorite bands, all of my favorite bands are European. You know, like 90s black and death metal and power metal.
I feel you.
Yeah, like that's just, to me, that's the best music ever got. And it's just my favorite, and it's just what feels like home. And so of course, you know, like, it's going to come out, and so we're going to sound a little European, or a lot European, or completely European.
Given how much the band has changed over the years, set aside, you know, changes in band membership, just the vision and thought and what is you'll want to put on the record going forward. Do you all have thoughts about the direction the band wants to go, or is it more an organic thing that just comes out when you write it?
A bit of both. There's definitely a direction that we're trying to stay on. I think we really kind of hit our stride with the catchy melodic stuff, but also trying to stay as heavy as we can, because we you know, we're not trying to sound super poppy, but we do want to be a little bit more accessible than, you know, whatever. So
Still want it to be catchy, you know?
We want it to be catchy. We want it to be heavy. We want it to be, you know, angry and brutal, but at the same time, like, a hook every now and again is sick. And I think we really kind of, like, laid into that with the last record, you know? We were able to do some really heavy stuff, and then, like, you know, the really, like, catchy choruses and everything. So I think that's kind of the formula.
And you still had some folk elements in there. I mean, it wasn't. It didn't. You didn't hit people over the head with them, but they're there.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we'll probably maintain, you know, throughout is just being, like, a little folky. And I think that's probably just like the European thing too. I mean, it's hard to, like. I think most European bands, whether they are like black metal, death metal, mellow death, whatever, they all sound a little folky. Like,
that's probably true.
You know, there's some elements in there that are just really influenced folk-wise. So
yeah, and I don't know. I don't feel like we in the past we don't have a ton of groove, which I feel like American metal is known for. I say that now, and that might change as of the next album. But yeah, historically we just don't groove, stank face grooving, you know, like pentatonic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we don't do a lot of that. And I think just the absence of that also contributes to us sounding massively European.
That's I think you've hit the nail on the head with that. Yeah.
Strong analysis there.
So again, my first time to see you guys, I was so impressed.
Thank you.
Beyond what I hear on the record, what I see on stage, which again was amazing, I'm always curious to see band members outside and watch band members interact with fans. And we actually, as we were walking to this interview, you had an interaction with some fans. You know, does that come naturally to you guys? You all, and you were having a hug fest in there, Cierra.
Everybody knows her. Everybody. I'm serious. This is important. This is very important. Everybody in Denver, in the Denver metal world, in the Colorado metal world, I don't know, in the tri-state. Is there a tri-state area?
Kind of just everything.
Yeah.
Sierra is one of those people where you take her into any given room and she has at least 2 friends.
Yeah. But like at least. But on average, I'd say like 15.
Beyond that, just how important is it for you guys to interact with fans and hear their feedback and talk with them?
I mean, it's super important to me. It's, you know, it's one of the reasons. I'll pause. It's one of the reasons that I do this. I remember when I first got into like you're level beyond Metallica, Slayer, kind of all of those more entry-level bands, and I discovered, like, I don't know, Emperor and DSI for the first time. This was the late 90s. I was 13. And I remember just how huge those bands were for me, and how, like, I felt like I didn't feel like they did. They changed my life, and I would have loved to have been given the opportunity to tell them that, So if someone's going to come tell me that, now granted, they might tell me that we suck. That's also fine. That's also totally fine. But yeah, I think that, like, to hear a fan out who has been positively impacted by your music, and to be able to say thank you, and maybe they say, like, this song really helped me through this thing, and then I'm like, cool, we wrote it because my dog died or whatever. Sure. Then I think it's really special.
Yeah.
The way I've always thought about it is, like, if I ever, like, my favorite guitar player in the world is Jeff Loomis, right? Super big influence on me. And, like, if I ever got to meet Jeff Loomis and he was a dick to me, that would be devastating. Yeah. And I would, like, carry that sadness with me for the rest of my life. And obviously I am not, like, deluding myself into thinking that I am anyone's Jeff Loomis, because I'm not. But, like, the point is, if somebody comes up to you because their music means something to you, like, the least you can do is try to give them the best interaction possible, because if you make them feel like shit, you're going to forget it in 5 seconds, but they're going to potentially remember it forever,
Yeah. Yeah.
So starting to wrap up with you guys, following your tour through Middle America, what are the band's plans for the remainder of 2025, and when can fans expect new music from Oak, Ash, and Thorn?
Well, after this tour, we have a European tour. Awesome. Actually, in late November into early December. We're going out on the road with Nailed to Obscurity. It's their first European headliner. They're putting out a new album, and direct support is coming from Iria. So that's going to, mid-November, early December. First European tour for us, first bus tour for us. We're very excited. And in between now and then, we're just going to continue writing. We've got like 3 songs that have solid skeletons right now for the Season of Mist record, and probably like 6 or 7 more just cooking.
Well, we've got one that's basically finished. We played it today.
Well, true, the one that we played today.
We played a brand new song for the first time today.
And that had a lot of melody too, I thought. Yes. It was very melodic.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So we're just going to keep cooking on the album, go do our first Europe tour, come back from that, keep cooking on the album, and then hopefully be in the studio by maybe this time next year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So final question, what's the best way for fans to purchase music and merchandise from the band, including your most recent album, Our Grief Is Thus?
Yeah, so there's a couple different places you can get that at. We have an online store called oakashandstore.com. Very easy to remember. We've got all of our CDs there. We're out of Oak vinyl at the moment. There's some Eternal vinyl on there as well. All of our merch is on there as well. If anything on that side is sold out, music-wise, you can also go to our first record label's Bandcamp, Lost Future, and purchase the album there. Otherwise, everything's at oakashandstore.com.
And if you all are on tour anywhere nearby, pick up merch from your merch booth like I did earlier today, and get it from you guys directly. That's maybe the best way.
Yes, that is absolutely the best way. Yeah, thank you so much for that.
And then we get to see your faces too, which is great.
Yes, we like faces.
Well, I'm so stoked for you guys. I know you're just going to kill it in Europe, and this is the first of many times over there. Again, my first time seeing you guys. It's the first of many times seeing you all, I'm sure. Thank you so much, and good luck on the road.
Man, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.